What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's a very special edition of the Countdown to the Geekcast. This is going to be our Ghostbusters Afterlife non-spoiler review, so you don't have to turn this video off at any point in time. We're going to make sure we only talk about the movie in general as a whole, no details, and we're not going to ruin anything for you in the movie. My name is Steady. Joining me, the founder of the Ghostbusters of San Antonio, the one and only Mr. Bryan Ortiz. What's going on, Bryan?
Hey, how's it going, man? Nice to see you again.
You know absolutely how it's going because you and I were sitting about 50 feet from one another,
Yeah.
watching the early screening put on by Sony at the last minute. Get that buzz going, and it's probably what they were thinking. Let's go ahead and pull out all the stops. So Sony drops early screenings on a Wednesday night. Nobody saw that coming. Tickets were
Nope.
already selling really well for the rest of the weekend, and I'm stoked that they ended up putting it on a day early. And
Yeah.
tremendous. This is just going to be, again, our non-spoiler review. Not going to talk about anything, no details, no giveaways, no nothing like that, no Easter eggs. We want everybody to watching this just to go in with kind of just a little bit of a expectation, perhaps maybe going in and just get our general thoughts as two lifelong Ghostbusters fans.
Yeah.
It sounds like we could be a bit biased, but I think we're pretty level-headed about what we just witnessed. So, Bryan, I'm gonna start with you, man. Uh,
Sure.
kind of give us your instant reaction, your emotions, your feelings walking out of the theater. What was the experience like for you watching Ghostbusters
Yeah.
Afterlife?
There is a lot. I'm still processing, as I'm sure you are right now, man. There was just a
Absolutely.
lot of swirling emotions because we've all been through so much, and on top of that, the fact that we have been going through pandemics and
Yeah.
delays and pushbacks, you know what I mean? And there's such anticipation and fervor for this product to come out. We've all been dying to see it, and the swirling rumors of this and that you may have read in different articles. It felt good to finally be sitting in the theater with like my popcorn and my drink, finally waiting for that beautiful logo to just show up on the screen, and you're
Yes.
just ready to go. As soon as it kicks, you're like, I'm in. We are in, ladies and gentlemen. It's go time. And it felt like that the entire time. And I really enjoyed, with, again, no spoilers, like
Right.
there was just a very well designed structure to the story, which I really appreciated because,
Yes.
with Ghostbusters, you have the danger of falling into the same trap. Oh, no pun intended. Falling into the same trap over
The
and
same
over
ghost
again if
trap.
you're
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
careful. Yeah, yeah. If you're not careful, right? It's the same story every time. So I really enjoyed what Jason Reitman was trying to say, and the messages that he was conveying were very, very, very good. I thought the emotion was there,
The heart.
the heart was there. The children were phenomenal. The
Yes.
cast was just on point across the board.
Yes.
One of my biggest claps that I just really triggering for me personally, we talked about briefly outside, is the sound design
Oh yeah.
was really triggering for me in a good way, where I was brought back because, my whole life hearing that proton pack turn on for the first time. Well, there's a big difference when you hear that proton pack turn on in IMAX. Like, I mean, it rumbles inside of your guts, and you're like, oh, that's what it feels like. That thing probably shakes on your back. So it just was such a wonderful hearing the proton blast just, boom, and it hits and it explodes, and it's so well done. And Reitman does a wonderful job of utilizing things that we haven't seen before. Like in the trailer, you've seen it. He just
Yep.
gets in there, right? And he digs in with the Ghostbusters, with the in the action, using the car, using the weapons. Like, he goes in hard on it, and he's not afraid to get everybody moving in the story. And that's the new kind of fun life that modern version of it can bring. So lots of emotions, man. A beautiful ending, messages across the board, acting, sound design, character design too as well. The feel, the tone, the music, all of it was just the right balance and mixture to tell a Ghostbuster story. I think at least a very wonderful follow up to the part two, at least, like a really, you'd watch all three of these in a row and be like, yep, that's it. That's a perfect
God,
story.
that's it. That's right there. There's our trilogy
That's
we've been
it.
waiting 32 years for. I'm gonna piggyback off of you, and I might even expand on a couple of things
Yeah.
you've already mentioned. The pacing of this movie is fantastic. Whereas most comic book movies, sci-fi movies, you sort of get these ebbs and flows, these highs and lows.
Hmm.
I feel like this is just all one big start of a roller coaster where it's just building up, and then once it hits
Yeah.
that peak, you're just in for like this incredible ride, and it's an amazing ride from the third act on to the end. So I think the pacing is really solid. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I I was always skeptical when hearing about another Ghostbusters movie because listen, I'm gonna be honest. It's a group of guys with one weapon, and they do one thing
Right.
one way. So it's like, how are you going to surprise us? How are you going to make this something we've never seen before?
Hmm. Yeah.
Happy and thrilled to say this was refreshing. This was absolutely refreshing. There's so many new elements that we can add to the Ghostbusters lore, that we can add to the tools. I've
Yeah.
we spoke on Monday about how they're expanding on some of the origins of previous films. All of that stuff. There are surprises galore. I've been I've been talking about this movie for almost over a year right by now since the first trailer came out, since the first teaser came out.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of things I kind of hit a nail on the head, and still things I never expected happened. And that's amazing that you're still, even with the trailers giving us some of the plots and showing us some of the key characters and all that, you're still pulling out all the stops by adding additional elements I think no one saw coming. There's things in
Yeah.
here I did not expect that nobody could have seen coming.
Yeah.
So I love the pacing, the flow of it. It's just it's you know what it felt like? It felt like a classic. It felt like a classic 90s, late 80s movie. Like it has all those feels. Um it's the essence of the first two films. It's not a trilogy where there's different scores, and there's different themes for different
Yeah.
characters. We're given so much that we're so familiar with. It just feels like we've been here before. It's so um not, I said refreshing earlier, but the aspect of keeping that essence of the first two films
Hmm.
just gives you that recognition of what we're doing. We're watching a Ghostbusters film. This feels like a Ghostbusters film, and I think anybody who had sort of hesitations about, oh, there's this new cast and it's going to be very Stranger Things. I mean, you've heard all the potential complaints that people had.
Yeah. Yeah.
None of those hold up. None of those hold up whatsoever. And I feel like Jason Jason wrote a love letter to the franchise, and it's an incredible experience for not only fans like us, I think any generation of fans. Quick shout out to Victor Garcia, who we ran into outside of our auditorium. He had a young daughter who had a Ghostbusters T-shirt and a Ghostbusters hat. Sweet Ghostbusters hat. She was rocking it, and me and Brian took some photos with her, and I even spoke a little bit more with Victor afterwards. He's a huge fan. His family is are huge fans, and just seeing a young 6-year old, 7-year old girl coming out of that movie like it was the greatest thing she's ever seen.
Yeah.
Seeing that joy on her face equal to my joy, I think says a lot. I think this movie is not made for a specific audience. It's hitting on all fronts for a wide range of moviegoers. It's quite honestly, it was a huge challenge, I think, to make because of all the
Yeah.
things you mentioned. Trying to do something new, trying to bring a fresh take on an old franchise, and it was a success, a big challenge. Bravo, Jason. I'm sure Ivan had a huge hand in a lot
Yeah.
of things, but it's a huge accomplishment, man. I highly recommend it anybody who's watching, and I hope you love it or enjoy it as almost as much as I did. I don't know if you could, but yeah.
Bring tissues, folks. If you're emotional, just bring tissues. That's all I'm gonna say. You're just gonna be joyous and happy the entire time. You're gonna feel like a kid in a candy store sitting there watching this thing. It's amazing.
Kid in a Candy Store, that actually sums it up like really well. This is a classic movie. This is going to stand the test of time for quite a while, I believe. I
Yeah.
think I watched the original today and still holds up. The comedy's still funny, the lines are still good, the acting is still above par, and this one, I can't think of one thing I didn't like. I love the performances across the board. Special effects were
Yeah.
incredible. Like you mentioned the sound, I that's one reason why I chose the showing in the theater that I did because the sound is booming in this one auditorium out of in the entire city. This is the one auditorium where like they don't care how loud it is. Um,
I don't think I'll ever hear a proton pack turn on that amazing ever again in my life. That just again rumbling in your guts. You're like, oh, that's real. That's very real. Well, and again, it feels like there's a natural, organic
yes,
continuation, not only from an aesthetic point of view as well. The lighting even resembles Kovac, the one who did the original one. There's still some very harsh, like dark shadows every now and then,
absolutely.
and things like that. And that is very reminiscent of the first. And so there's a lot of nods to it. The music is unabashedly like, know what? We're just gonna do the same thing. It's great. We're gonna have the same dang music, folks. Don't worry about it. We are not going crazy, and it's perfect.
I'll absolutely, and I'll add to that saying all of the scores, even just the ones happening in the background in the '84 film where there's not really any action happening or there's not a whole lot of story being presented. If you listen closely, all of these exciting action sequences, they're using those same chord progressions. They've just turned into a massive symphony orchestra. And
Yeah.
so it's all there. They're not changing anything that much. They're using the same chord progressions, it's the same notes. It's just turned up to 10 with some steroids.
Yeah,
It,
yep.
it's a lot
It's
of fun. It's
it's
fantastic.
great. It really does hit the nostalgia bone as much as it needs to, but it doesn't ever feel like it's overwhelming because there's also something fresh to be done.
Yep.
So that's kind of what's nice. It's a blend of old and new mixed together very well. And so I think it pays off, especially as we go from each act to each act and we get more info dump and lore dump. And the biggest thing that all of us want to ask is where have they been? That's what we all wanna know, right? Like,
Absolutely.
where have the Ghostbusters been since they finished their job? Where have they been? And those are the kind of satisfactory kind of answers that you get from this story.
Yeah. One last thing that I observed with the kind of the crowd that was sitting around me, the comedy. Uh, the first trailer dropped, and there's complaints. Where's the comedy? This is supposed to be Ghostbusters, right? There's not any jokes in this trailer. I'm telling you, there was people laughing start to finish around
Oh,
me,
yeah.
including me. But I was surprised how the crowd around me reacted along with me. It was it was fun. It was a fun movie. The humor is witty a lot, and it's dry at times, but still great. Um,
Yeah.
it's so much fun, and yet there's a good handful of horror elements. It's not straying too far into the comedy genre. This is still a Ghostbusters movie. We're going to add some specters and demons and ghouls, and you are going to jump out of your seat on a number of occasions.
Oh yeah.
So it's, again, there's so many elements that this movie tries to hit, and I feel that they succeeded across the board. And that's a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge to be funny and scary, and throw in a ton of heart, throw in a ton of emotions, and to execute on all fronts. Major challenge,
Yeah.
mission accomplished. Loved it.
Absolutely. It's an A plus in my book for sure. A lovely successor to an already fun franchise, and I hope that it does well because I would kill to see more. Like, I'm so invested in this world now, in this universe more than I ever was before, and I want to see what the future can bring us, as we've all kind of talked about and speculated for so long. Let's see the future. And I'll tell you what, like, I mean, I feel like there's a future to be had. You know what I'm
There
saying?
you
I
go.
feel like there's a future to be had, and so and also for your fans, in case anyone's wondering, no spoilers, but I will say this: don't leave the theater. Wait till the credits end. That's it. Don't
Wait
go
till the
anywhere.
wait till the lights turn on.
Don't go
That's all.
anywhere.
That's all I'll say. Wait till
That's
the
it.
lights turn on. If you leave before that, there you could be disappointed later.
Just
I
don't want
won't.
anyone to walk out and be sad.
Absolutely. This isn't the end of this franchise. I feel like there's an untapped potential that this franchise has always had, and this is the first major leap in that direction.
Yeah.
There's a number of things you can do after this. Every other franchise across the board, from Star Wars to DC to Marvel, they're not only putting out movies, they're putting out TV series. They're putting out limited series. So if Sony gets really serious about this,
Yeah.
it's the time is now. Start tapping into this potential. Make Ghost Core your head honchos. Make sure that they green light and they make all the decisions. And I feel like you can't go wrong. I'm not even going to worry about whether or not they're right or wrong. I think that this is a major step in the right direction. I am so thrilled that I absolutely love this movie because I'm not worried now. I'm not worried about the franchise. Listen, had so many very down moments reading an article about another Ghostbusters movie project that was shelved. It's been a dozen of those, and each time I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this means now the franchise is dead." Oh, this one means now the
Yeah.
franchise is dead. We've had those moments,
Yeah.
the moments of the unknown. Of the movie projects shelved or stuck in limbo or development hell. But yeah, no more, no
No.
more.
Hoping that this will be the door that opens up and we get to just finally fulfill a lot of those hopes and promises that we were getting for so long. And you're right,
Absolutely.
if they don't tap into it now, they're missing out on on a great wave of support and love and a
Yes,
future that could be possibly had. So hopefully they've got stuff in the pipeline. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
absolutely. Streams crossed.
Streams crossed.
Proton
Streams
streams crossed.
crossed, ladies and gentlemen.
This is not gonna be the end of our discussion either. We're gonna continue our Ghostbusters Afterlife talk, this coming Monday, where we're gonna do a full spoiler review with the rest of the Geekcast, as well as any additional members from the Ghostbusters of San Antonio. Um, this is going to be an incredible week and even more an incredible weekend. Brian and his group, they're going to be at the fan event Friday night at the Palladium.
Correct.
Catch them there if you're lucky. If there's any tickets left, I can't imagine there is. Oh,
Right.
Q&A with Jason Reitman, probably some additional cast members as well. That's supposed to be live streamed at this fan event on Friday.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, you and the rest of the Ghostbusters of San Antonio crew are going to be out at the Alamo Heights parade which
Correct.
is the evening time, correct? Starts around
Correct.
6, I believe?
Yes.
Fantastic.
And then we'll
So,
be at the, Park North Alamo Draft House on Sunday from 4:30 to 8:30 also. So the whole team will be out there with proton packs and all kinds of fun stuff. So, come out, talk to us, take photos, get excited, you know what I'm saying? Take the family. What better way to spend a Sunday than with a bunch of Ghostbusters?
absolutely. Absolutely. I can't believe we're here. This is a feeling I've not felt probably my entire life. That Ghostbusters is sitting on top of the world right now, or at least it's about to. We're on the precipice of that,
Oh, yeah.
of, of it
Let's soak
really,
let's soak it in. It's
of
beautiful.
really
We're all just
taking
gonna
over.
live in this. It's gonna be great.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe to our channel as well as our social media pages. For the Countdown to the Geekcast, my name is Steady. Joining me on this Ghostbusters Afterlife non spoiler review is the head and founder of the Ghostbusters of San Antonio organization, Mr. Bryan Ortiz.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Have a good night, folks. And Busta makes me feel good. Yeah.